Hello friends, welcome to Gardening with Creekside. I am Jenny and here we are today under the pines. It's an absolutely gorgeous day, Sunday afternoon in April, and the purpose of today's video is to bring you back to this place in the pines that Jerry and Jackson and I were, I don't know, 2 months ago maybe, when we took out some trees in this area to make room for the lovely mulch pile that is behind us right now. So remember, if you don't remember that video, check out the link right here. I will have it tagged for you so you can go back and watch that fun adventure of us taking down some trees, because here at the nursery we do, one, offer bulk mulch to our customers, but also we use it a lot for landscape. So we wanted to take it from a more prominent area that you would see when you come in and out of the nursery and kind of tuck it away here down under the pines at the actual physical nursery. I'm thinking long term, how can we kind of help disguise this a little bit, because it is this nice big pile of mulch. Of course, that pile will go up and down as the season progresses with how quickly we get rid of it. But it also gave me an opportunity to create a big, huge kind of shade privacy screen bed. So that is what we're going to look at today, is this bed that we planted in order to give us a little bit of height, privacy, and break up this mulch that is behind us. So we're going to walk through and show you the plants that we put in this space. Now, in full disclosure, this is not kind of an installation how-to video on how to install the plants, because my mom and I had come through and placed all the plants where we wanted, and then Jerry and I were going to come back and do the whole video about the planting, and you do this and you do that. But as you know, spring is an extremely busy time for us here, and before we knew it, it was just time was getting away from us, and these plants were just sitting in their containers right here. Well, our sweet shoppers were trying to take my plants, and so Jerry and I were like, we got to get these in the ground. So we just came over here one day and just zapped them in the ground really quickly. But the whole idea with this bed is that over time, this whole area will be filled. Obviously, we're going to get some dappled sunlight. This is mostly under pine trees. We do have some few hardwood trees. They are just beginning to flush out their leaves. So this is really kind of the most sun that this spot is going to get, because as those poplar trees get big, huge, fat leaves, it will put more shade here in this area. I did this as a tiered effect. So in the very back, I'm going to have my tallest plants and work my way forward to my shortest plants. With the exception of 3 hydrangeas, this entire bed will be an evergreen bed. So I will have year-round color, interest, and texture, and even flowers because of the plants that I have chosen. Now, in the very back row, so to give you an idea of this bed probably spans, what would you say that would be, like 30 feet, Jerry? 30 feet, give or take a little bit. Now, yes, we're gonna get rid of the pallets and we're gonna clean up a little bit. And yes, there are weeds coming up, but you know us, it's real life here, and we're just gonna show you the good, the bad, and the ugly. So in the very back, I have 4 Japonica camellias planted. I wanted to have all of the white by the gate, but it just didn't happen because I didn't get 4 of the camellias. Now, white by the gate, I'm going to show you this little, this is an old bloom that was on the ground. White by the gate will get to be 8 feet tall, about 6 feet wide, give or take. Now, this is obviously an older bloom, but imagine it just being a pure white, big, fat, double bloom. It is coming to the end of its bloom season. Japonicas will bloom roughly in November, December through the early spring. You know it's a Japonica because it has these big, huge, fat, massive leaves. Sasanquas, which bloom early in the season, will have little, small, narrow leaves. So they will be about half this size and a lot skinnier. Japonicas as a whole will generally grow to be a lot larger, but they're going to be a little bit slower grower than a Sasanqua. So what I did, because I couldn't have 4 white by the gates, I have two white by the gates. So I have a white, then I have Professor Sargent, which is another Japonica. Let's see if we can find a bloom here. I think I have one over here. Another Japonica, but it is a double red. Now, I'm going to tell you that this Professor Sargent and the other one, they were in nursery cans for like 2 or 3 years. Wouldn't recommend that, but we were going to place them somewhere else. So they're a little struggling right now, but they'll be fine. So we did white by the gate, Professor Sargent, another beautiful white by the gate that you can see that bloom on, and then finally another Professor Sargent. So it goes white, red, white, red. Professor Sargent will get to be about 8 to 10 feet tall, again in that 6 foot wide range. The care for these is that when we planted them, of course, we did go ahead and put biotone in the hole with these guys, and I went ahead and holly toned them because they are those acid loving plants. These Japonicas do really well in that filtered sun, acid loving woodland garden type setting. I should not have to prune these at all because I have given them tons of space for them to grow and get nice and large. This is definitely going to be a bed that's not going to give me, on one hand it does give me instant satisfaction, but on the other hand I'm not going to see it reach its maturity for a couple of years, which I am perfectly fine watching it grow. So we've got the camellias in the back. Then we have two rhododendrons. Now, this rhododendron, Jenny's gonna be completely honest, forgot which one it is, so we're gonna look at the tag real quick. Rhododendrons for us can sometimes be a little bit different, a little harder. This is the English, looking upside down, Roseum. This is, if I remember correctly, we'll have to look it up, but it's only going to be in that 5 to 6 foot range. Sometimes rhododendrons can get really large, and of course it is going to be a good size, but it's not going to be a massive one. You can see that it's covered with lots of buds. Rhododendrons will do those nice, big, huge, fat blooms in kind of that late spring, early summer. So I'm going to have blooms in the winter from my camellias. Then coming forward, we will have those spring, summer blooms from the rhododendrons. Nice dark green foliage, beautiful. Then I have through here, there are 3 of these. These are aucubas. This is a gold dust aucuba. So there was 1, 2, and then 3 on the end. Aucubas, again, are a fantastic, more shade tolerant, loving plant. Again, it's evergreen. It is called gold dust because it has those dark green leaves with that beautiful kind of that yellow speckled foliage in it. Again, a little bit of a slower grower, but in the long run will give lots of interest and structure to this bed. But I want you to see, look, all of this right here is new foliage. All of this kind of that pointy tip all over the whole plant is new foliage. So it is very happy here in its new home, and it's just going to grow quite well. As far as the care on this bed, for me, on this summer will be its most high maintenance in the fact that this is not on irrigation. It is in the shade, it is under pine trees and other hardwood trees. So I will have to make sure that it does receive adequate water, especially when we hit those, July and August, because those are our hottest months. So if we're not gonna get some consistent rain, then I will need to make sure that these get a nice, thorough root soaking at least once a week. So being here at the nursery, it's not gonna be too hard to do because we're always over here and there's plenty of irrigation hoses nearby that we can water it. But these gold dust aucubas are a great option for you if you need something that's nice and large, evergreen in a shady section. It can handle like this. It's getting some filtered sun right now. That's not a problem. Certainly don't want to give it that late hot afternoon sun. Now, right here, these spore guys, and I'm just going to tell you right now, they're looking a little sad. They're not great right now, but that's okay because I know that they will be fine. This is actually BananAppeal. So I have BananAppeals right here, and I have some Florida Sunshines on the other side that we'll go to in a minute. They are both, again, shade-loving plants. They can do some filtered sun. They are evergreen, very bright foliage. It is hard to tell a BananAppeal from a Florida Sunshine, except that BananAppeal has a lot longer leaf on it. So here in a minute, I'll show you the difference between a BananAppeal and a Florida Sunshine. They are both a type of anise. So they will put on these little tiny white blooms, really just here in the next week or two probably, and it'll have a slight licorice smell to them. Not an overpowering smell, really a nice one. Now, the reason I said these are not doing super great, because you can see right here, that brown foliage, these had a little bit of heat stress to them. Before we were able to get them in the ground, we hit some pretty high temperatures up in the 80s, and honestly, they just got dried out. I should have been over here watering. It just didn't happen. So they're showing a little bit of that stress from that dry period, but again, I can see some new growth on them. They're flushing out. We'll give them a little bit more TLC, and in the long run, they will be okay. So this will give me a nice big pop of color right here with these 4. Now, let's go ahead. I'm going to take a leaf in a minute, because I want to show you the difference between the Florida Sunshine and the BananAppeal. But before we get there, we have 3 hydrangeas right here. Now, these hydrangeas are all the same type of hydrangea. This is Dreamin Hydrangea. It is a type of microphylla hydrangea, which means, again, they do really well in this dappled light. You can get morning sun, but for us, they really kind of need a break from that hot afternoon sun. They are hardy in zones 5 to 9, I believe, and they're gonna be a nice petite hydrangea. What's neat about Dreamin is that as the plant matures, when it blooms on new and old growth, that on the same plant, you're gonna have a whole myriad of colors. So it won't just be purple or pink. I can have purple with a little pink with a little bit of blue. Lots of different colors on this one hydrangea. Super, super fun. I cannot wait to see how they do. When we had that cold snap, that freeze last week, I did cover them with burlap bags, and they did really well. They were just a little squished from being weighted down, but I doubled up the bags and they received no frost damage, which was excellent. And I don't know if Jerry showed you, but look at this. They already have buds on them. So all 3 hydrangeas currently have buds. So by me covering the hydrangeas with those burlap bags, I have ensured that I'm going to get my first blooms. It's fantastic. I am so excited. You will see we have a upside down aquapot. As soon as the appropriate time approaches, I will flip this sweet thing over and fill it with some shade loving annuals. So that will bring me, again, a little bit more color, a little bit more height, annual color right here in this pot. So that will be fun to create a shade loving container that y'all can see. Now, lastly over here, these are the no, those are bananas, these are Floridas, Florida Sunshines. You can see that it's really hard to kind of tell them apart because they look very, very similar. But as soon as I put this leaf up next to these leaves, you can tell the difference. So the one in my hand is that BananAppeal. The one that's on the shrub is the Florida Sunshine. See how BananAppeal is so much larger than the Florida Sunshine? This is not that there's a, this just needs some more fertilizer. No, they just have smaller leaves. Now, Florida Sunshine will get actually a little bit taller in that 4 to 5 foot range than the BananAppeal. BananAppeal tends to be a little bit more around that 3x3 stage. This will get a little bit taller. But in the bed, we have the same color theme going through here with these, 2 blocks of these great limey yellow-green shrubs. So I think it'll just be a really neat addition. And honestly, the reason why did I not just pick one shrub as far as why didn't I do all BananAppeal or all Florida Sunshine? We simply just didn't have enough plants. So I used what we had, and it made it work. So I'm super excited about this bed, and depending on where you come through with the pines, you can see a different angle and it just works really well. Again, I know that this is going to grow and mature as each year passes. I'm very excited about it because, again, it gives me year-round color and interest. I'm going to have blooms through here really year-round between the aucuba, the hydrangea, the camellias, and the rhododendrons. I will have just some sort of flowering interest year-round, and it's going to be a really neat addition to the landscape here at Creekside Nursery. So whether you have a full sun area, you have a shade area with some dappled sun, there's always going to be a landscape solution that you can come up with, as long as you kind of keep your mind open and are willing to kind of think outside the box and to be patient with all of these shrubs as they grow. Every shrub that went in here was a 3-gallon container. Of course, you could go bigger, but the bigger the container, the pricier it's going to be. So it's all about kind of what you want to invest and how you feel about just watching it grow. I'm one of those that really enjoys watching the plants grow and develop and just see them come into their own in their surroundings. But I hope this has been helpful. I hope you have gotten some ideas, some inspiration. Again, not that you have to go to your house and recreate this exact design or use these exact plants, but that it inspires you to go out and find the shrubs, the trees, the plants, the annuals, the perennials that really will work in your area, and to whatever that landscape problem is, that you will find a solution to it. So as always, thank you so much for gardening with Creekside. We'll see you in the next video. Bye, friends.